Hello, Minglaba Dhamma class. My name is Rebecca, and my Buddhist name is Metta Bali, which means keeper of loving kindness. Today, I'll be your presenter for part 1 of this Dhamma class. Today's Dhamma class is on May 31st, 2026. We meet every Sunday at 4 p.m. Arizona and Pacific time. Anyone interested in Buddhist teachings is welcome to join us on Zoom. Use the ID 413-460-4622 and the password Buddha20, all lowercase. Remember, the Zoom ID and password will stay the same every week. First, 3 individuals will recite the special prayers. These chants will then be followed by Part 1A, offerings, taking the Tisarana and precepts, the Metta chant and meditation, B, Adhitthana, determination, mindfulness on death, wishing and sharing. Part 2, Burita chanting, discussions, questions and answers, translations from the prayer book, and some kids reciting Pali prayers from the book. Today's substitute will be Hein Liang, so Hein Liang, please have your prayer books and the correct pages ready and close by. Jewel, please remind the Dhamma class of our rules and regulations.
1. If you're reading a substitution or participating in Part 1A, please try to join the Zoom meeting at least 5 minutes early. 2. Please do not eat or drink during the prayer time, as it is very disrespectful. If you're hungry, make sure to eat before joining the meeting next time. 3. Sit up straight in front of your camera. Keep your camera on at all times or you may be removed from the meeting. If you're not a part of the Dhamma class, you're free to turn off your camera. 4. Please don't fidget or play around, as it can disturb others who are praying. The prayer session is only 15 minutes, so please be mindful and respectful. 5. For those chanting, please chant clearly and slowly so that others can follow along. 6. We would greatly appreciate it if everyone stays respectfully until the end of the meeting.
Now, please put your hands together. We will begin with Buddha Gamana Gata. We believe you will do great.
Buddha Gamana Gatha Angira Sasa Unaya Tatahi Sitaram Sio Wajirawa Virojanti Jinometad Sisake Nilayo Niladanama Pito Dadacha Lohita Dhamma Manjita Nikaming Supapasara Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. One time.
Diwa Dapadi Gada, Diwa Dapadi Adicho, Radi Mabadi Chandima, Sanado Kadiyo Dapadi, Jai Dapadi Brahmano, Ada Sabha Mahoradim, Buddha Dapadi Tejasa, Tadisam Tejasampanam, Buddham Wandami Sadaram, Edena Sajawajena, Sodi Me Hodu Sabada, Sodi Te Hodu Sabada.
Surya Gatha Namo Te Buddha Viratu Vipamuto Si Sabati Sampada Patipanosami Tasame Saranam Bhava Tathagatam Arahantam Suryo Saranam Gato Rahu Suryam Pamunjasu Buddha Loka Nukapaka Yo Andakare Tamasi Papam Karo Vero Jano Mandali Ukatejo Marahu Kili Jara Mandalike Pajamamam Rahu Pamunja Suryam Edena Sajawajena Soti me hontu sabada Soti te hontu sabada Bawanda.
Banda Sara Soti Dena Devana Dhamma Dasina Deloka Dipan Sambudam Pujayami Tamunudam Anaganda Kunupitam Etam Kusama Santatam Pujayami Munindasat Siribada Sarorohi Adiwa Setu no Pante Paniyam Parikapitam Anukampam Upadaya Patikanadu Uttama Adiwa Setu no Pante Bojanam Parikapitam Anukampam Upadaya Patikanadu Uttama. Wrong time. Agata, 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 Kayaka, Wasika, Manaka, Tabadota, Katenda, Apietogo, Piapateje, Achonga, Patama, Tutia, Tatia, Taje, Naje, Donje Miao, Paya Yadana, Daya Yadana, Danga Yadana, Yadana Miatomba Dogo, Ayo Ate, Ale Amya, Lasa Moye, Shiko Puzo, Pumyo Masha, Gadobai Ashempia, Gadoyado, Acho Ajao, Apeleba, Gatomba, Yapyeshipa, Yandumyongaba, Wipatitialeba, Byatanatayangaba doma, Akakate, Gelonengi pinye, Mataya, Potaya, Nibantia domyago, Yabaloi Ashempia, Valentine. Wambante Tisernena Saha Nawanga Sapanagatam Uposata Silam Damam Yajami Anugaham Tatawa Silam Deta Mebante Tutiampi Ahabante Tisernena Saha Nawanga Sapanagatam Uposata Silam Dhammam Yajami Anudaham Tatawa Silam Deta Mebante Datyampi Aham Bante Tisaranena Saha Nawanga Sampanagatam Uposata Silam Dhammam Yajami Anudaham Tatawa Silam Deta Mebante Amabante Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi. Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi. Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Amabante.
Panatipata Uramani Sikaparam Samadhiyami. Adina Dana Uramani Sikaparam Samadhiyami. Abramacharya Uramani Sikaparam Samadhiyami. Musawada Uramani Sikaparam Samadhiyami. Surameraya Majapa Madadana Varamani Sikhaparam Samadhiyami. Vikala Bhojana Varamani Sikhaparam Samadhiyami. Najagita Wadita Visuka Dasana Malaganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusana Dana Varamani Sikhaparam Samadhiyami. Ujjasayana Mahasayana Varamani Sikhaparam Samadhiyami. Metta Sahagatena Cetasa Sabapana Bhutesu Paritva Viharanam Samadhiyami. Amabante Bangtang.
Iti piso bhagava araham sama sambuddho vichajarana sampano sugato lokavidu manudro parisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusanam buddho bhagava.
Swagato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opaneiko Pachatam Varitabo Nyuki.
Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Samichipatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Yadidam Chattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Bhugala Esa Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anudaram Punya Ketam Lokasa. Bow one time.
Aham awero homi, abhyabajo homi, aniko homi, sukhiyatanam pariharami, mamma mata pitu acharyaja, yatimitaja, sabrahmacharinoja, awera hontu, abhyabaja hontu, anika hontu, sukhiyatanam pariharantu. Amakam araka dewata imasamim awase imasamim arame araka dewata awera hontu abhyabaja hontu aniga hontu sukyatanam pariharantu.
Sabe sata sabe bana sabe bhuta sabe bhugala sabe achabhava pariyapana sabe itio sabe brisa sabe ariya sabe anariya sabe deva sabe manusa sabe vinipadika avira hontu abhyapaza hontu anika hontu sukhi atanam pariharantu dukkha mutantu yata lada sampatito ma vigatantu kamasaka.
Pratimaya Tisaya
Dakshinaya Disaya, Pachimaya Disaya, Uttaraya Disaya, Pratimaya Anudisaya, Dakshinaya Anudisaya, Pachimaya Anudisaya, Uttaraya Anudisaya, Hatimaya Disaya, Uparimaya Disaya.
Sabe Sata, Sabe Pana, Sabe Buddha, Sabe Buddha, Sabe Awa Pariyapana, Saba Itio, Sabe Purisa, Sabe Arya, Sabe Anaria, Sabe Dewa, Sabe Manusa, Sabe Winipatika, Awira Hontu, Abya Baja Hontu, Aniga Hontu, Suki Atanam Pariharantu, Duka Mujantu, Yada Lada Sampatito Mawiganchantu Kamasaka.
Damyawa Bawagaja Adoyawa Awijito Samanta Chakawalesu Yesata Patawijara Abyabaja Niweraja Nidukaja Nubadawa Udamyawa Bawagaja Adoyawa Awijito Samanta Chakawalesu Yesata Udakejara Abyabaja Niweraja Nidukaja Nubadawa Udamyawa Bawagaja Adoyawa Awijito Samanta Chakawalesu Yesata Akasejara Abyabaja Niweraja Nidukaja Nubadawa Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Bow one time.
Now we will learn how to meditate by Chloe, May Cindy, Amara, Shanta, and Rebecca.
What is meditation? Meditation is a way to keep the mind cool and calm by concentrating on one object. There are many ways to meditate. In our Dhamma class, primarily we study Anapanasati and body scanning meditation. In Anapanasati, a natural focus is your own breath, which is always with you. If you simply keep feeling the breath as it comes in and as it goes out, the mind gets quieter and more peaceful. In body scanning meditation, you scan your whole body from head to toe, from the front and the back. The only trouble is, something will always take your attention away, maybe a noise or a pain in the knee, but often your own mind is the problem. It is so full of useless stuff, like a monkey jumping here and there. It is so hard to control. To become the master of your mind, you need some lessons, enough time, and a good place to learn how to practice. With enough practice, meditation helps to replace bad thoughts and feelings with happy ones.
Why do we meditate? By learning how to control the mind, we start to get rid of negative habits and develop good mental qualities instead. If your mind is cool, you make good decisions, you don't get confused, you make less mistakes, you don't get angry or feel afraid, and you become more confident. If your mind is calm, you become peaceful and happy, you are less worried and frustrated, you don't get stressed about work or exams, and you develop compassion and kindness, and you have more harmonious relationships. If your mind is concentrated, you get less distracted by useless things. You find it easier to focus and learn. You perform better in sports and games. You make better music and art, and you'll be more trustworthy.
What is the difference between samatha and vipassana? Samatha meditation and vipassana meditation are two different types of meditation. Samatha aims at achieving deep concentration while Vipassana aims at understanding both the body and the mind. In samatha meditation, the focus is solely on one object to attain deep concentration, such as by fixing the mind on a single point. In contrast, Vipassana meditation involves observing various mental and physical processes as they occur. During samatha meditation, when the mind wanders, we bring it back to the chosen object. However, in Vipassana meditation, when the mind wanders, we observe it without trying to control it. Only when the distraction fades do we return our focus to the primary object. These differences in focus and approach distinguish the two types of meditation.
Now we are going to practice guided muscle relaxation meditation. Before we begin, please straighten your body, center yourself in the middle of your camera, put your hands together with the right on top of the left with your thumbs connected, and place them in your lap. Then close your eyes. Step 1. When I say a group of muscle, focus on the group of muscles you hear and feel the tensions in them. Step 2. Mentally relax those group of muscles. Step 3. Feel those muscles completely relaxed. Let's start. Your scalp muscles. All the muscles on your head are relaxed. Your forehead and eyebrows are relaxed. Your eyes, ears, nose, lips, and chin are relaxed. Your neck and shoulders are relaxed. Your arms, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers are relaxed. Your chest and upper back are relaxed. Your abdomen and lower back are relaxed. Your hips and thighs are relaxed. Your knees and legs are relaxed. Your ankles, feet, and toes are relaxed. Now your whole body from head to toe fully relaxed.
We are going to advance to Anapanasati meditation. You are going to focus on your breath. When you breathe in, a puff of air touches the tip of your nose. Make yourself aware of the touch. When you breathe out, a slightly warmer puff of air touches the tip of your nose. Make yourself aware of the touch. We are going to practice counting technique with each cycle of in-breath and out-breath. You will count from 1 to 8 and do not let your mind wander. If your mind wanders out, start counting from 1 again. We are first going to practice together. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 1. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 2. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 3. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 4. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 5. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 6. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 7. Breathe in, aware of the touch. Breathe out, aware of the touch. 8. Now go back to 1 and start counting on your own. We are now done meditating.
Dukkha bata jat ni dukkha, bhaya bata jat ni bhaya, sokha bata jat ni sokha, hontu sabbe bipanino.
Nahi vere narvirani samantita kuta chanem avere nacha samanti esa tamarsanantano.
Hello.
Taba pa pasa akaranam kusala supa sampada sachita pariyo dapanam etam buddhana sasanam.
Maname tuam chivitame aduam idame punyam nipanasa pachiyo hontu imam punyapakam sabasatanam pajima sadhu sadhu sadhu. Long time.
It is now part 2 of the Dhamma class, and again, please do not eat anything. However, drinking water is now fine. So we will be starting off with program number 1, which is Chant of Mahajaya Mangalagata by Mate, Miranda, Theresa, Swezin, Julia, Chloe, Sunyape, Shinthat, Izindi, and Chloe.
Mahajaya Mangalagata Bahum Sahasa Mapinimita Sayudatam Giri Megala Udita Goram Sasena Maram Dana Titama Widina Chitawa Munida Dam Dasa Pawandude Jaya Mangalani.
Maratirega Mabiyujita Sabaradim Goram Banalalaga Maga Matadayagam Ganti Sudanda Vidina Jitawa Munendo Dam Tejasa Bawadute Jaya Mangalani. Nalagirim Kajawaram Atimada Bhutam Dawagi Jaka Masaniwa Sudarunando Medambu Sekawidina Jitawa Munendo Tamte Jasa Bawatu Te Jaya Mangalani.
Ukita Gagama Bihata Sudarunantam Dawam Tiyojana Patan Guli Malawantam Iti Pisankata Mano Jitawa Munendo Tamte Jasa Bawatu Te Jaya Mangalani.
Katwana Katamudaram Iwa Gabiniya Jinjaya Dutawajanam Janakaya Maje Santena Somawidina Jitawa Munindo Tamte Jasa Bawatute Jaya Mangalani.
Sajam Vihaya Ati sajaka wada ketum. Wada bira pitamana. Ati anda budam. Panya padi pajalito chitwa munando. Namte jasa bawatute jaya mangalani.
Nando Pananda Pujagam Viridam Mahidam Bhutena Tera Pujagena Dhamma Bhayanto Idu Padesa Vidina Chitawa Munindo Tam Tejasa Bhavatute Jaya Mangalani
Sugaha Titi Bujagena Sadatahatan Brahman Visuddhi Judy Midi Baka Bidhanam Jnana Gadena Vidina Chitawa Munindo Tam Tejasa Bhavatute Jaya Mangalani
Etapi Buddha Jaya Mangala Atagata Yowa Jago Dina Dine Sarate Matandi Hitwana Neka Vividani Jupadawani Mokam Sukam Adigameya Naro Sapanyo Sadhu, 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 but one time.
Dewa Tapati Katha. Dewa Tapati Adijo. Rati Mabati Chandima. Sanata Katiyo Tapati. Jaye Tapati Brahmano. Atasapa Mahoratim. Buddha Tapati Tejasa. Dati Sam Teja Sampanam. Buddham Vandami Sadaram. Etena Sajawajena. Soti me hotu sabata. Soti te hotu sabata. Fountain.
We're now moving on to part number 2, which is Answer the Questions from Buddhism for Kids by Rebecca and Cynthia.
Hello, Dhamma class. My name is Rebecca, and for today's program, my sister Cynthia will be joining me. So, Cynthia, can you please introduce yourself? Hello, Dhamma class. My name is Cynthia, and my Buddhist name is Magabali, which means keeper the middle path. And the individuals I'll be asking today are William, Alexander, Shrizin, Dirisan, Jewel, Shinta, Hema, Linlin, Dunsin, Lasandar, Noel, Mianol, Julia, Dewa, Wei and Lyra. We'll be asking questions from Buddhism for Kids, so please have your book ready. William, how does Gamma work?
Good actions bring good results. Bad actions bring bad results.
That is correct, thank you. Alexander, does Gamma happen by accident?
Accident.
The answer is no, Gamma is only from choices we make on purpose. Shrizin, what does Gamma mean?
It means our actions, what we choose to think, say, and do on purpose.
That is correct, thank you. Theory Sun, why is the mind important in Gamma?
Our thoughts guide our words and actions.
That is correct, thank you. Jewel, how does Gamma work?
Good actions bring good results and bad actions bring bad results.
That is correct, thank you. Shinta, does Gamma happen by accident?
No, karma is only from choices we make on purpose.
That is correct, thank you. Hema, what does Gamma mean? The answer is it means our actions, what we choose to think, say, and do on purpose. Lin, why is the mind important in Kama?
Our thoughts guide our words and actions.
That is correct, thank you. Tenzin, how does Kama work?
Good actions bring good results, bad actions bring bad results.
That is correct. Lasanda, does Kama happen by accident?
No, karma is only from choices we make on purpose.
That is correct. Noel, what does Kama mean?
It means our actions, what we choose to think, say, and do on purpose.
That is correct. No, why is the mind important in Kama?
Our thoughts guide our words and actions.
That is correct. Julia, how does Kama work?
Good actions bring good results, bad actions bring bad results.
That is correct. Dewa, does Kama happen by accident?
No. Karma is only from choices we make on purpose.
That is correct. Wei Yan, what does Kama mean?
It's me our action, what we choose to think, say, and do on purpose.
That is correct. Lyra, why is the mind important in Kama?
Our thoughts guide our words and actions.
That is correct. That is all for our program. Thank you for listening and participating.
We're now moving on to program number 3, which is Answer the Questions from Poly Pathways by Marinda and Hila. So, hello to my class, my name is Marinda, and my Buddhist name is Bodhi Pali, which means Keeper of Wisdom or Keeper of Enlightenment. And today I'll be doing this program with my dear Dhamma friend Hila. So Hila, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Mingalaba. My name is Hein Lang, and my Buddhist name is Sukapala, which means power of happiness.
So today we'll be asking some questions from Poly Pathways, so please be ready. My first question is to Benji, and it is, what is Panchasila?
Absent.
Okay, my next question is to Mate, and it is, what does do not harm living beings mean?
It means being kind to all creatures and controlling our anger so we don't hurt others.
That is correct. And Mason D, why should we avoid taking what is not given?
It teaches us to be honest and not take things that don't belong to us.
That is correct. Henry, what does avoid alcohol and drugs teach us?
It helps us stay mindful and in control of ourselves, making good decisions.
That is correct. Noel, what is Panchasila?
Panchasila is the 5 precepts in Buddhism that guide us to live kindly, honestly, and respectfully.
That is correct. Theory-san, what does do not harm living beings mean?
It means being kind to all creatures and controlling our anger so we don't hurt others.
That is correct. Yambo Tut, why should we avoid taking what is not given?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Why should we avoid taking what is not given?
It teaches us to be honest and not take things that don't belong to us.
That is correct. And lastly, Xing Lang, what does avoid alcohol and drugs teach us?
Helps us stay mindful and in control of ourselves, making good decisions.
That is correct. And now, Hila, please ask your questions.
Lyra, what is Panchasila?
Panchasila is the 5 precepts in Buddhism that guide us to live kindly, honestly, and respectfully.
That is correct. Lintan, what does do not harm living beings mean?
It means being kind to all creatures and controlling our anger so we don't hurt others.
That is correct. Tain, why should we avoid taking what is not given?
It teaches us to be honest and not take things that don't belong to us.
That is correct. Julia, what does avoid alcohol and drugs teach us?
It helps us stay mindful and in control of ourselves, making good decisions.
That is correct. Sandy, what is Pancasila?
Pancasila is the 5 precepts in Buddhism that guide us to live kindly, honestly, and respectfully.
That is correct. Mitau, what does do not harm living beings mean?
It means being kind to all creatures and controlling our anger so we don't hurt others.
That is correct. Anglinte, why should we avoid taking what is not given?
It teaches us to be honest and not take things that don't belong to us.
That is correct. Lastly, Shinki, what does avoid alcohol and drugs teach us?
It You come back to me.
You're the last person. Well, the answer is it helps us
It
stay.
helps
Go-
us stay mindful and in control of ourselves, making good decisions.
That is correct.
That is all. Thank you to everyone who answered our questions. So we'll now be moving on to program number 4, which is presentation on Buddhism, first by Chloe, Mason, and Julia, then by Xingling and Alan Tay, and then by Marinda, Halen Al, and Dewa Kune.
Hello, Minglaba. My name is Chloe Chang, and my Buddhist name is Deidei Bali, which means keeper of wisdom. I live in Chino Hills, California. So today, my 2 dear Dhamma friends will be joining me. So Mason D, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Minglaba. My name is Mason D. My Buddha name is Lokapali, which means guardian of the world, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. So Julia, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Minglaba. My name is Julia. My Buddhist name is Bera Pali, which means keeper of wisdom, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. So Chloe, what will we be talking about today?
We will be talking about the Dhamma. So Mason D, please go first.
Please listen carefully because we will be asking some questions at the end. What is Dhamma? Dhamma in Buddhism means the teaching of the Buddha. It includes the rules and ideas that help us understand how to live a good life. Dhamma shows us the path to happiness and peace.
The Dhamma teaches us important lessons like being kind, honest, and helping others. It also helps us understand our feelings and the reasons behind our actions.
One key idea in Dhamma is the Four Noble Truths, which explains why we suffer and how to overcome it. By following the Dhamma, we learn to make better choices and avoid causing harm to ourselves and others.
Living according to the Dhamma can lead to a happier life and help us find inner peace. It guides us to be our best selves and to treat others with love and respect. So now we'll be asking questions. So Chloe, can you please ask your first question?
So my first question is to Lasanda, and it is, what does Dhamma mean?
Dhamma means the teaching of the Buddha that show us how to live a good life.
Yes, that is correct. So Mason D, please ask your next question.
My next question is to Theory-san. So Theory-san, what does the Dhamma teach us?
The Dhamma teaches kindness, honesty, and how to understand our feelings.
Yes, that is correct. So Julia, please ask your next question.
My next question is to Lasanda. So Lasanda, what is one important idea of the Dhamma?
The Four Noble Truths, which explains why we suffer and how to overcome it.
Yes, that is correct. So Chloe, can you please ask the last question?
So my last question is to Theory-san, and it is, how does living according to the Dhamma help us?
It helps us make better choices, avoid harm, and find inner peace.
Yes, that is correct. And that is all for today, so thank you for listening.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching and listening.
It is now Xingling and Alante's turn.
Hello, Mingalaba. My name is Shinki Ling and my Buddha's name is Virapali, which means brave keeper, and I live in Colorado. Today, my dear Dhamma friend Alang Te will be joining me. So, Alang Te, please introduce yourself.
Okay, the internet problem, I think. So skip the program. Next program.
It is now Miranda, Hila Out, and Dewa Kune's turn. So hello to my class, my name is Miranda, and my Buddhist name is Bodhipali, which means keeper of wisdom or keeper of enlightenment. And today, I'll be discussing something with my dear Dhamma friends, Hila Out and Dewa Kune, so please introduce yourselves.
Hello, Mingalaba. My name is Heng Long. My Buddhist name is Sukapala, which means fire of happiness. So Dewa Kune, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, and Minglaba Dhamma class. My name is Dewa Kune, and my Buddhist name is Kema Bala, which means power of enlightenment, and I live in Oak Hills, California.
Today, we'll be talking about the Buddhist flags, so Hila Out, can you please start?
After his enlightenment, the Buddha spent 7 weeks around the Bodhi tree, mostly meditating and experiencing the bliss of Buddhahood. During the 4th week, he sat in the jewel house, Ratanagara in Bali, located to the northwest of the Bodhi tree.
The Ratanagara was not a house made of real jewels. Rather, it was the place where the Buddha contemplated the 7 books of the Abhidhamma Pitaka. According to Buddhist tradition, while contemplating the 7th book, the Patana, rays of 6 colors radiated from the Buddha's body.
These 6 colors are Nila, blue, Pita, yellow, Lohita, red, Odada, white, Manjita, orange or pink, and Babasara, dazzle or radiance, or the combination of the 5 other colors.
So why are these colors seen in the Buddhist flag? In 1885, the British government in Sri Lanka officially declared Wesak Day a public holiday. Buddhist leaders in Sri Lanka realized that they needed a flag to represent Buddhism during the first national celebration of Buddha Day. A committee of 9 members was therefore formed, and they decided to design a meaningful Buddhist flag incorporating the 6 colored rays.
The colors of the Buddhist flag symbolize the following qualities. Nila, blue, represents the spirit of universal compassion. Pita, yellow, represents the middle way. Lohita, red, represents the blessings of practice. Odada, white, represents the purity of the Dhamma leading to liberation. Manjita, orange or pink, represents the wisdom of the Buddha's teachings. And Papasara, or dazzle or radiance, the combination of the other 5 colors, represents the universality of the truth.
The person who advised and encouraged the design team to include the 6 radiant colors of the Buddha's aura was Colonel Henry Steele Olcott, an American Buddhist pioneer who had special interest in the human aura and helped the Buddhist revival movement in Sri Lanka at that time.
Presented at the World Buddhist Conference held in Colombo, Sri Lanka in May 1950, the flag was accepted as the international Buddhist flag and is now recognized by Buddhists around the world.
Please remember that the Nila, blue, color needs to be at the top of the flag. So now, I'll be asking questions along with Miranda. So my first question is for Chloe, and it is, what did the Buddha do after his enlightenment?
After his enlightenment, the Buddha spent 7 weeks around the Bodhi tree, mostly meditating and experiencing the bliss of Buddhahood.
That is correct. The next question is for Amara, and it is, where did the Buddha stay during the 4th week after enlightenment?
During the fourth week, the Buddha stayed in the jewel house called Ratanagara in Bali, located in the northwest of the Bodhi tree.
That is correct. So, Marinda, could you please ask the next few questions?
My question is to Maythun, and it is, was the Ratanagara a house made of real jewels?
No, the Ratanagara was not a house made of real jewels. It was the place where the Buddha contemplated the 7 books of the Abhidhamma Pitaka.
That is correct. And my next question is to Julia, and it is, what happened while the Buddha contemplated the Patana?
According to Buddhist tradition, while contemplating the 7th book of Abhidhamma, the Patana, rays of 6 colors radiated from the Buddha's body.
That is correct. And now, Hailan, please ask your next 2 questions.
The next question is for May Cindy, and it is, what are the 6 colors of the Buddha's rays?
The six colors are Nila, blue, Pita, yellow, Lohita, red, Odata, white, Manjita, orange/pink, and Babasara, dazzle.
That is correct. The next question is for Shintan, and it is, why was the Buddhist flag created?
In 1885, the British government in Sri Lanka officially declared Vesak Day a public holiday. Religious leaders in Sri Lanka realized they needed a flag to represent Buddhism for the first national celebration of Buddha Day.
That is correct. So, Marinda, could you please ask the next 2 questions?
The next question is to Mate, and it is, who designed the Buddhist flag?
A committee of 9 members was formed to design a meaningful Bodhi flag.
That is correct. And my next question is to Jewel, and it is, what does Nila blue represent?
Nila represents the spirit of universal compassion.
That is correct. And Hailan, please ask your next 2 questions.
The next question is for Lindan, and it is, what does Pita, yellow, represent?
Pita represents the middle ray.
That is correct. The next question is for Diri-san, and it is, what does Lohita, red, represent?
Lohita represents the blessings of practice.
That is correct. So, Marinda, could you please ask the next 2 questions?
Question is to Chloe, and it is, what does Odata white represent?
Odata represents the purity of the Dhamma leading to liberation.
That is correct. And my next question is to Mate, and what does Manjita or orange or pink represent?
Majita represents the wisdom of the Buddha teachings.
That is correct. And Hailan, please ask your next 2 questions.
The next question is for Amara, and it is, what does Babasara, dazzle or radiance, represent?
Babasara, dazzle/radiance, represents the universality of the truth.
That is correct. The next question is for Noel, and it is, who encouraged the use of the 6 radiant colors in the flag?
Colonel Henry Steele Olcott advised and encouraged the design team to include 6 radiant colors of the Buddhist aura. He was an American Buddhist pioneer.
That is correct. So, Marinda, could you please ask the last 2 questions?
My question is to Sumya Pit, and it is, when was the Buddhist flag accepted as the international Buddhist flag? The answer is, the flag was presented at the World Buddhist Conference held in Colombo in May 1950. It was accepted as the international Buddhist flag and is now recognized by Buddhists around the world. And my last question is to Lyra, and it is, which color should always appear at the top of the Buddhist flag?
The Nila blue color should always appear at the top of the flag.
That is correct, and thank you for everyone who participated in our program. So we will now be moving on to program number 5, which is choose the correct one out of the given answers by Hank and Hema.
My name is Hank. My Buddhist name is Tabala, which means the power of knowledge. Today, I'll be joined by my twin sister, so can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Hema. My Buddhist name is Hemapali, which means peacekeeper.
Today, we'll be asking questions to the individuals Nyambunte, Lintan, Lasanda, Weiyan, Snowy, Heyman, Chloe, Kamapali, Malinte, Mietno, Emerald, Metau, Henry, Kishing, Mio, and William. To start off, Nyambunte, what does taking refuge mean?
It means we trust the Buddha and follow his example.
And that is correct. Lintan, what does taking refuge in the Buddha mean?
It means you trust and follow his teachings.
And that is correct. Lasanda, what did the Buddha teach us?
To be kind, honest, and not harm living beings.
And that is correct. Weiyan, why do we take refuge in the Buddha?
Because he showed us the path to end suffering and live a good life.
That is correct. Snowy, what does taking refuge mean?
It means we trust the Buddha and follow his example.
And that is correct. Heyman, what does taking refuge in the Buddha mean? Well, the correct answer is it means you trust and follow his teachings. Chloe, what did the Buddha teach us?
To be kind, honest, and not harm living beings.
And that is correct. Kamapali, why do you take refuge in the Buddha?
Because he showed us the path to end suffering and live a good.
And that is correct.
Alingte, what does taking refuge mean?
It means we trust the Buddha and follow his example.
That is correct. Mietno, what does taking refuge in the Buddha mean?
It means you trust and follow his teaching.
That is correct. Emerald, what did the Buddha teach us?
To be kind, honest, and not harm living beings.
That is correct. Metau, why do we take refuge in the Buddha? Well, it's because he showed us the path to end suffering and live a good life. Henry, what does taking refuge mean?
It means we trust the Buddha and follow his example.
That is correct. Kixing, what does taking refuge in the Buddha mean?
It means you can trust and follow his teachings.
That is correct. Myo, what did the Buddha teach us?
He taught us to be kind, honest, and not harm living beings.
That is correct. And William, why do we take refuge in the Buddha?
Because he showed us the path to end suffering and live a good life.
That is correct.
Thank you for listening.
We are now at the end of the Dhamma class, so everyone please put your hands together and recite Buddha Sasanam Chiram Dedu 3 times. Buddha Sasanam Chiram Dedu. May the Buddha's teachings last long. Buddha Sasanam Chiram Dedu. May the Buddha's teachings last long. Buddha Sasanam Chiram Dedu. May the Buddha's teachings last long. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.